Quaid Azam, Part 26. Curiously, Muslim communities most given to the religious fanaticism, like the Farizis, it's a movement, the Farizi movement, like the Farizis and Mopilas. Mopila was another movement, in fact. So like the Farizis and the Mopilas in South India remain entirely uninvolved. Canning, in a formal assessment of the causes of 1857 and the part taken in it by the Muslims, summed up, "It is true that the Mohammedans in many parts of India are ill-disposed towards the British government and have at various times excited disturbances. It is also true that every Mohammedan would gladly see the day when his faith should again be in the ascendant and would infinitely prefer Muhammadan to British rule. But allowing this to be an accurate exposition of their secret aspirations, it cannot militate against facts which tend to show that the Muhammadans only took a partial share in the mutiny, and that too after its development. With the recapture of Delhi in September 1857, dire vengeance visited upon the hapless Muslims of this city. Bahadur Shah Zafar was put through the indignity of mock trial and exiled to Rangoon. Mughal princes were beheaded summarily with the hot sun boasting about wine glass in hand. Was a great catastrophe then befell the Muslim intelligentsia of Delhi, and such of them as wanted to return to the city, their home, after the ruthless quarreling of 1857 were required to pay a fine. Prime Minister Palmerston wrote to Canning that every civil building connected with the Mohammedan tradition, not so oblique a reference to Jamia Masjid, should be leveled. This was an instruction provided by the British Prime Minister to the Governor General then, the Viceroy then, that every Mohammedan building should be leveled to the ground without regard to antiquarian veneration or artistic predilection. Well, this was the bias showed by the British in those days. As the condemn and the retributory punishment followed, though scarcely even a pretense at observing judicial process was demonstrated, the backbone of the economic strength of the rural communities of North India was broken through wholesale confiscation of the property. And then there was the wholesale confiscation of the property in the affected provinces. Here the approach of the British usurper was guided only by an overwhelming desire to avenge the upsurge in 1857. That was the principal motivation, and they remained blind to the communities in execution. So it was the blind revenge on the Muslims, and Muslims were considered to be the cause of the mutiny, although they were not. And one way or the other, the British found a refuge for themselves in the community of Hindus, and they had started victimizing Muslims. And of course, when within a single country, India, the victimization had started, there was not fair treatment by the colonist. The colonist had started treating Hindus differently than those of the Muslims. And of course, the Muslims' properties were confiscated by the colonist. They had started rising a segment of two-nation theory. They started believing as if they were not the part of the general India, because the colonist had a different treatment for the Hindus and then another different treatment for the Muslims. And I believe this probably was one of the cause of our discussion that we have made earlier, and will go on to the next one.